Okay, welcome back to Number Wizard. Last time, let's open up our script here. If you remember, we created the words, like the introduction for our player that shows up on the console back in Unity. Right, console over here. Okay. So we have the welcome to Number Wizard. If you up arrow, your number's higher than my guess, down arrow lower than my guess, enter I guess correctly, and then we have the telling the player to pick a number between 1 and 1,000. Okay. So today what we're going to do is we're going to learn about variables. So variables, if we take a look at it, okay, so variables are, you can kind of see it, every variable has three things. They have a type, they have a name, and they have a value, okay? So a type, a name, and a value. And what we need to do is we need to declare a variable, because if we look at these things, these numbers right here, we never want to hard code numbers inside of our code. So like this, pick a number between 1 and 1,000, right? If this was later down in our code and we're making a really big game and we wanted to change a number, we wouldn't want to go and try to find it. So we want to get to the practice of creating variables so that we can just change them at the very beginning of the code and it will change it everywhere else. So that's kind of the benefit of using a variable. Now, declaring a variable. What you first need to do to declare a variable is you say the int, the name, you give it a value. But here's the trick with declaring variables. You see these open curly bracket and the closing curly bracket? If you declare a variable right here, it can only be used inside of start, right? Same with if you declare a variable an update, it can only be used inside of update, okay? So what I want to do is we also have these open and closed curly brackets right here. That's just the whole script. That's Number Wizard. That's the whole script right there. So if we declare a variable inside of these two and not inside of start or update, it can be used everywhere. So that's where we're going to want to do it. So for our variables, we're going to use a variable of a type int, which is an integer. Okay? We're going to give it a name. So now if we have our numbers down here, we want a minimum and a maximum. So I'm just going to name it something clear, easy to understand in the future, min. Okay? Int min is equal to 1. Okay? Now here's a little mini challenge for you. Using that, go ahead and create another variable for max. You can go ahead and pause the video and create another variable for max. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to do int again, because it's another integer, max, and we're going to set that equal to 1,000. So now the trick is now that we've declared the variable, and you see that they're underlined and they're not highlighted, they're not white anymore, they're kind of grayed out. That's just because it's Visual Studio, right? Visual Studio saying you have these variables declared, but you're not using them anywhere. So let's go ahead and use them. So we want to replace these with the variables. So to do that, right, the quotations in the debug.log are used only when we're doing words, right? And spaces only matter inside of quotations. If I were to add a space out here, it doesn't change anything to my code, okay? So a quotation, if we say pick a number between, and we have the space right here, that means that the space is going to be registered, but we want to add our variables now. So outside of the quotations, we want to add another element to the debug.log. So we're going to do a plus, and then go do min. Let's just look real quick and see what happens when I do that. Okay. If we go back to Unity, and I hit, yeah, it's saying that's used, it's assigned but never used. If I hit play, pick a number between 1. You see it has that space there because I added it inside the quotations. So now it has the min and just shows it as the number. So I have min, and I want to add the word end, right, between 1 and 1,000. So I want to have another plus, I'm adding another element, and it's another word. So I'm going to do quotations. I'm going to add a space, so there's a space after the 1. And I'm going to do another space and close the quotations because now I need to add my max variable, plus max. If it doesn't all make sense right now, that's totally fine. Just follow along and do the best on the challenges and you'll get it. So now, let's go ahead and save that and make sure it's working all right up here. Great, so we pick a number between 1 and 1,000. So now in the future, if ever we need to change the variables, if we want to change the values, we can just change it right here and it will automatically change it in our script. So if I were to do like something crazy, let's do, oops, not words, let's do like that number right there. 568,943. Yeah, that'd be a long game if you had to pick a number between there. But let's see if it changes it. Okay, pick a number between 568,943. So that's how variables work. They take, let me go ahead and change that back. They have a type, they have a name, and we set it equal to a value, and then we can use those variables in our code later on. So now you know how variables work. Go ahead and implement that into your own code if you haven't already, and then I'll see you for the next video.